And welcome to another episode of the Friday Post Flight. I just want to say thanks for joining us today. As the audience builds, I'll say thanks to a few folks in the chat who got here early. I was highlighting folks as we got going. We have a wonderful guest today, somebody that I think quite highly of, and I appreciate their efforts with their property. They produce a marvelous physical piece of media or digital, if you prefer, that you can get quarterly, I believe, that'll allow you to see a perspective from like Mad Magazine or Cracked back before they were both broken and went full establishment. They're probably the most humorous in college humor, frat humor, parody, satire, and any number of those things that you've seen in a long, long time. They're like the Babylon Bee, but the Babylon Bee doesn't want to be associated with them in any way. And you can see all that in the description along with a link to their YouTube channel, and I will fix the link to their website because believe it or not, it is flipcitymag.com. So you can check that out and check out what they have to offer. They usually have a great offer discount, get you a chance to get your hands on their wonderful physical editions if you'd like. I highly recommend them. Probably somebody you're going to see more and more frequently on many channels as they make the rounds for some actual legitimate crowdfunding. So we'll get to all that conversation and more. But I wanted to give a nice warm welcome to Christy from, well, I guess it's Flip City Magazine. How are you doing, Christy?
Hey, Culture, thanks for having me on,
You betcha.
and also for knowing that Babylon B doesn't want to have anything to do with us. That was our first slap in the face, and our feelings were hurt at first, but now it's a badge of honor.
Well, actually, I think you have to remember they're satirical and parody driven as well. So I don't think I'd be too upset about that. They probably were just, throwing shade for fun. I think that's a high form of flattery, right? Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, if it was public, that would have been awesome.
that's
To like beef in public with Babylon B, but it was all behind the scenes.
that's
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 okay. We still
that's even better.
we still publish the quote.
You should
Yeah.
have. Yeah. They didn't say keep us off the record. I think that's good. I think that's good. Well, we have a lot of
Yeah,
people
no,
joining
they
us.
they are.
Yeah. We have a lot of
Mhm.
people joining us here in the audience, Christy, and um, a hefty number of folks want to see more and more creators like you that actually make things. So we'll be doing these from time to time. So I tell you what, I'm going to give you a chance to introduce yourself a little bit before we get into the questions of it all. So, what do you want to tell people about what you do?
Well, Flip City Magazine, as you said, is a physical piece of media. You did a really great job describing what it is. It is in the vein of Mad and Cracked magazine before they went full establishment. We're tremendously anti-establishment and really, really funny. We are in our fifth year of publishing. Um, and I would say our readers compare us, mostly to Mad before they went woke. But I don't know if they ever actually went woke. They just kind of stopped being,
Mhm.
So we kind of picked up the torch and continued. So published quarterly. You were correct in that. And we publish in. This is our latest cover. It is this was very fire themed. It's our most incendiary issue yet. And if you just look at the cover there, that is done by Pester Pooch. Our derelict doggy's been with us for about 4 years. And we do publish, I think at this point, we've published 40 different contributors, mostly illustrators, but a few writers as well. And it's all just a bunch of great fun. We love it.
Well, I like I said, I've appreciated it for a while now. Obviously, we have some subscribers here that are out there in the world, including
Oh, cool.
the wonderful Mexican Iron Man, who says there at the bottom of the chat that
I
I'm
didn't
pulling up
know
right now.
that.
Yeah, Mexican Iron Man's a subscriber.
Oh,
So, yeah, you're doing wonderful work, and you have a lot of fans here. So, I will just say thanks. Thanks for joining us today. I know you have somebody else involved that I normally get to see when I get a chance to talk to you like this. Uh, I think the last time the two of you were together when we were talking about Flip City. So,
right.
yeah.
That would be Scott McKenzie, the
Mm.
mad behind Flip City. Probably writes about 80% of what's in the magazine and also illustrates. In fact, our very first three had got all by himself. We were lucky enough to get meant by like the Salty Cracker and a couple of other somewhat prominent YouTubers. And then we started getting flooded with illustrators and writers that wanted to contribute to our mission. And it's been awesome because when we started, we knew that we did want to publish others. We kind of have called them revolting artists. It's kind of hard because they're revolt against the system and also are kind of gross. Anyway, uh, we were wondering how to end up vetting our artists to be really cool people. And we never ended up having to do that because really nice, great YouTubers were giving us shout outs and props and all that. So we've just been building our roster since then, and that started in early 2021.
Well, I appreciate your growth. I can't wait for it to get explosive. So that'll be lovely. But I really want to get started on the interview portion of the show. Oh, real quickly, Jeremiah Hembry says, "Culture, do you hear Concord costs 400 millions for Sony?" Yeah. You think Sony learned a lesson? Probably, Jeremiah Hembry, but I'll say we're actually may talk about that during the course of this stream. So I'm going to put that question to Christy here in just a few moments. But let's get into the first three questions, Christy, which means I have to hit a button. Here we go. This screen, I just want to say there's the chat right next to you. And yeah, we got a lot going on. So let me do this. I'm going to click on this behind the scenes thing, and I'm going to ask you, are you ready for the three questions? You ready?
I am. I'm
All
looking
right.
forward to them, in fact.
All right. So here we go. Question number one. And again, I'll remind everybody in the audience, if it's your first time here or your, I don't know, 100th, I don't know, just know that I always ask the first time guests the same three questions. If I have repeat guests, I try to confuse them then. That's when I'm allowed to confuse them. But the first question for you, Christy, is this lovely one. Um, what is your favorite television show of all time?
Of all time, I'm having to choose, and I measure it by like how many times I've watched the series over and over. And I think the top is The Sopranos. I really love The Sopranos. I still don't know like every single thing that is happening in The Sopranos because it's rather complicated, but it's kind of that violent but funny type of thing, and I think it revolutionized television storytelling. So I would say that, but at any given time in my life, it may have changed. It may change, or may have been a different thing. But right
I,
now,
I,
Sopranos.
I think a lot of people can kind of answer that way, and it makes perfect sense. Hey, it's good night from Scotland. Good to see you, Gabby. But I think a lot of people can say that. Sometimes for me, it depends on my mood because there's three programs I will regularly rotate through to consider my favorite program of all time. So it's okay to have a little bit of the the wishy washy when it comes to that because there's just been so much great television, not so much anymore.
Yeah.
Um, have you seen anything good lately? Is I guess the follow up to that, which I don't normally ask.
Yes. Yes, in fact, I'm glad you asked because I think it's something that doesn't get talked about enough. But Hulu put out The Great. I freaking love The Great. It's canceled now, but as far as more recent shows, The Great is fantastic. If you don't know what it's about, it's a satirical retelling of Catherine the Great's rise to power, and I think it's flawless in its writing. So
Yeah,
I highly recommend The
well,
Great to anybody that hasn't seen it.
probably just a little bit too challenging for some, I would imagine. But yeah, let's that's good. That's a good recommendation. All right, well let's get the super chat that came in from Troy. What's up? Last call with Troy Pacelli. What's up? Thanks for sending this. I said yeah.
Woohoo.
Sent you a little thumbs up button and a little comment. Says for this five Culture Casino cash, Just stepping by to show my support. Hit the thumbs up and share out the stream. Thank you, Troy. You're the best. And you guys should check out Last Call with Troy Pacelli. I never really remember what he told me it was, but it's been a long time since we've hung out together. So, when we get into November, you should send me an invite. Okay. That wasn't an invitation. That wasn't a begging for invitation moment if I've not heard one. Cyrano 2960 has freed the memberships, 5 Culture Casino memberships. Thank you for that. Truly appreciate it. That's amazing stuff. And it actually worked that time. Wonderful. Gabby likes Miami Vice. There you go. And it's always really good. And as Tom says, and I will say it, gifties. That's right. We got a lot of gifties out there. Cyrano suggests that you keep up the great work, ma'am. And I agree. I agree with that. Let's see.
Cool.
Let's see. Yeah, of course, November. Send me an invite or give me a heads up before you do, because I'm doing extensive traveling in October and the very beginning of November. But yeah, shoot me a message. We'll figure it out. All right. So we got through our first question. Well done. And I saw Luke out there. He was last
Well, thank
Friday's
you.
guest. Yeah. And let's jump into the second question, shall we? This is
All right,
relatively
let's do it.
easy. All right. What film is your go-to film for when you need something, when you're homesick or when you're homesick? When you need that pick me up, what is your go-to film that kind of reignites your spirit?
I revert to my childhood, and I'd say number one would be Princess Bride. One of
Yeah,
those movies that you can easily fall asleep to,
yeah.
because you've seen it a million times or watch over and over again. So I think Princess Bride would be my top pick. That or Labyrinth or Neverending Story.
There you go. Wow, we are from the same era, at least as far as our film appreciation. But you're not the only person to have picked Princess Bride, so I know that that's just such an uplifting film for so many. So that's very good. I appreciate that. Let's see what else. Have you seen anything? I'm going to keep asking this follow up question, I guess. But have you
Okay.
seen it? Have you seen anything that really that's more modern that could be somewhat uplifting? Is there anything in that wheelhouse you can think of?
Something more modern. Gee. I'm gonna expose myself as not like I'm not a big cinephile. Like I don't watch a ton of movies, but I guess I'd probably watch the and this is probably not even modern anymore, but like the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
There you go. Yeah, a lot of people absolutely love that. I would say that you just answered the question almost everybody else answers the question with. There are a lot of people that pick the Lord of the
Really?
Rings. Yeah. It's crazy. It's like we all kind of pick that stuff, right? It makes perfect sense. So uh but yeah, all right. Oh, we got another super sticker out there. Let's see that from our friend Samuel Maine for $3 sends me a pair with a thumbs up.
Oh,
That's right, reminding everybody to give the stream a thumbs up. It is absolutely
do
lovely.
it.
Yeah. Gabby is a 70s girl here. I love those films. That's right. Plus, Gabby says Anchorman. Anchorman is funny. Funny. Um, we shared dodgeball with the gold tier members the other night. We did every other Tuesday. Comics and I get together with our members that are gold tier or higher. In his case, I think it's sucker with a lot of dough and higher. But we get together with our members and we watch movies. And this last Tuesday was dodgeball. And then when we get into October, we have 3 Tuesdays. So we are going to do a couple of what do you call them? Now I guess double headers, double features, I guess, where we're going to watch some horror movies. So October is going to be horror movie month. So that'll be a lot of fun. We're going to do The Thing, I think, and a couple other ones. Very excited about. We're going to do, I think the first Tuesday is Alien and Aliens. So that'll be fun. All right. Enough about me.
Cool.
We need to talk about you. And the third
Well,
question I'm going to ask you. Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, I mean, October, spooky month. I'm looking forward to it. It's
Yeah,
really just right around the corner, and
it
you're
is.
picking some good classics there.
Yeah, we try. And yeah, I mean, this is the 20th, right? So not that many days away. I got a month and what, 10 days? Yeesh. Exciting.
Yeah,
Um,
wow.
I will be, I don't even know where I'll be. Will I be back from traveling? I hope so. All right. And then finally, the last question. This one's hard.
Okay.
What was your best film experience? Not the best film, your best film experience that you've ever had. It could be you went to a drive-through or excuse me, a drive-in. You went to there was somebody special with you. It was tied to
Uh-huh.
something else. What was your best film experience?
It's so funny. I feel like I just psychically communicated with you because you literally said drive-in, and that's what popped into my head was I went to the drive-in with my longtime babysitter to see Beetlejuice. And he babysat sat for my whole family, and there was four siblings, but he only took me to go see Beetlejuice, and it was just a fun experience. It was kind of weird because I didn't have any of my siblings with me, but it felt very special because he was a longtime babysitter, best babysitter in the entire world. He'd sing songs with us, color and all that stuff. But for some reason, I don't even I don't even know why. I guess my all my siblings were doing something else and they needed him to babysit me. So it was this special trip. We went and saw Beetlejuice at the drive-in, and yeah, I think that was probably my best film going experience. And I love the drive-in, and I'm so lucky. And Coach, I think I just recently found out you're a California guy, right?
I'm in the desert Southwest is how I will always answer that question. But yes,
Desert Southwest.
I say it. I spent so many well, the equivalent of years, I'll just say it that one in Southern California. So, my experiences are much like Gary from Nerdrotic and many others in my youth. So, I would be frequently found in the summers either somewhere on Pacific Beach or Mission Beach or at the coaster or stirring up heck at the park, or if a little bit farther up the coast in Del Mar, I would be, surfing at the Del Mar Skate Ranch. It's not surfing, skateboarding at the Del Mar Skate Ranch, and hanging out with cool kids like Tony Hawk and other kids. So,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
I
pretty cool.
it was amazing. At the time, I didn't realize how amazing it was because it was just a bunch of kids that were skaters. But no,
Yeah.
I spent so much time there. So yeah. Anyway, you asked that question. I went off on a tangent. Tell me about your experience because I want to hear it.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I'm born, bred, raised Californian. I'm
Yeah,
still in California, and
yeah.
I'm so sad for our state. That wasn't even what I was going to talk about. But from what I understand, there's not many drive-ins left in the United States,
Mm-mm.
but there are two right within driving distance of me. And that was something that I was so happy to give the experience to my daughter, and I think also my siblings, because we every summer would continuously take our kids to the drive-in, and it just felt special. It's one of those Southern California things that I'm glad has not disappeared, from our culture, and that they still exist.
Yeah, you can still find them in various places, especially the more east you go. I recently was on a road trip, saw one in Colorado. I've seen ones recently in New Mexico, and of course, a couple in Texas. So they're still out there. They're still out there.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah, and that's it. Really is. It really is. So, all right. Well, we made it through the questions, and you seem relatively unscathed.
Well,
Are you prepared? Are you prepared for what comes next?
I don't know. Culture, I may remain unscathed because since I've started streaming, I've realized I'm rather abusive to my
Oh, good.
guests.
Oh,
So
good.
you're really nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
well. I thanks. I don't know. Well, abusive to your guests. Huh, that's pretty wild.
Well,
I'm not.
you know, I have I'm nice and abusive. So I have a segment called Mansplain. So I let them in explain something to me because they need a platform too.
Oh, very
But then
good.
I put them in conspiracy corner. No matter who it is, we have to talk conspiracy a little bit.
Uh, oh, re- that's fine. Real quick, I got asked a question about skating. This never happens. Of course, I really don't talk very much about those times, but yes, I'm a goofy foot, right? But I can
Hmm.
actually, I can do a lot of, I can do a lot of tricks either way. It doesn't matter. Or I used to be able to. I'm old now. There is not skating that I'm doing. I am not Tim Pool. And then I had an Iron Cross. I had a Hasai. I have a few different boards, but yeah, I was, um, man, yeah, I had a Santa Cruz. Go through a few of these, and I would constantly customize my decks when I got them. But yeah, anyway, it is what it is.
I loved skater guys. That was definitely my type growing up.
Yeah, I think the probably right now, if I had to go buy a deck or anything, I might start at or excuse me, Skate Warehouse, and do that. But I'm actually tempted to just actually put my own board together and do a mix construction and do the lamination myself. Um, but I mean, it is what it is. But I leaned always towards independent trucks, and I don't know. I loved skateboarding for a long period of time, but anyway, don't do that anymore. I gradually just kind of shifted to surfing and snowboarding. That was like the natural move for me. So as I got older, and then now that I'm really old, my knees are garbage. So oh, Sims was very good.
Probably
Yeah,
not skating.
yeah. I just I Yeah, my knees don't do it anymore. Oh, gull wings. Yeah, those were great too. I don't know. I just always naturally leaned to independent. Regardless, we need to move on. So let's get into the show. The next part of the show, Christy, is um is weird news. You ready for some
Cool.
weird news? All right, let's get
I
in.
hope it's very weird.
Oh, it's plenty much weird. So yeah, I'm having trouble switching. Okay, but here we go. Weird news. We're ready for some weird news now with the folks on the other side there hanging out with us. I'm going to hopefully get us started here with the weird news, with the first story, which is plenty weird. Um, Apparently, a California woman, speaking of California, finds a marmot hiding in her engine. Yeah, look at that little fella. Isn't he just cute?
I didn't know they existed in California. It looks more like a Midwestern
It's
Eve.
odd. It's odd. It's in Pollock Pines, California. And so, yeah, firefighters helped a California driver remove an unusual obstruction clogging up the engine, a stowaway marmot. That's right. So maybe it got on somewhere else, but the resident brought her vehicle to the station on Pollock Pines to seek help removing an animal from under the hood of her car. The creature turned out to be a marmot that had apparently stowed away during a recent trip to Yosemite National Park. So yeah, they don't belong in California, do they? So, but the
Okay.
firefighters, yeah, yeah, the firefighters uh, assisted in removing some vehicle components to access the animal. California Department of Fish and Wildlife responded and assisted in safely removing the marmot from the vehicle and securing the healthy animal so it could be relocated back home. Oh, what a ride! What an interesting story the marmot will have to tell when it reaches its family of marmots, which I hope it can find. Isn't that cute?
Yeah,
Look at that.
I yeah, I'm happy that he made it and got a
Well,
free ride
have you ever had a
back home.
stowaway? Have you?
Deported.
There you go. Have you ever had a stowaway?
I don't think I've ever had a stowaway.
Huh.
But you hear those horrible stories of people starting their car and they're like kittens in their engine and
Yeah,
terrible things happen.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
It
like
was
that.
It was a funny. I got into the habit in when I was living in a northern place to bang the hood of my truck ahead of time, and sometimes I'd even open it to make sure on especially cold mornings, just to make sure there wasn't something in there because you did end up with stuff in the engine compartment, and if they were in the wrong spot, they were going to have an unwelcome end, I would imagine. So.
Yeah. Well, you're a very responsible car owner.
Well, yeah, yeah. I probably would think less of that now because I don't think very well anymore. I,
Oh.
I'm old now, so
So
I probably wouldn't remember
so
to do
bad
that.
knees and bad brain.
Yeah, bad brain. Yeah, apparently that happens. Just it doesn't need to happen when you're leading the free world. But anyway, we're going to leave that comment aside, and we're going to jump into the next fun story. Unless there's anything you want to say about marmots, or do you have a lot of marmot knowledge there, Christy?
Don't have much in marmot knowledge. Would is a see now? I thought marmot is it an actual creature? Like it's that thing that we looked at. I always
Yeah.
thought marmot was like an umbrella term for things that would include like possums and
Well, they're
raccoons.
they're they're a rodent. They have a nasty habit of killing their own parents. Um,
Oh,
yeah.
so
Uh,
matricide and patricide.
yeah. Some
Okay.
people try to keep them and name them and stuff. There are many different type of marmots. There are yellow-bellied marmots, alpine marmots, Olympic marmots, hoary marmots, which that sounds like an unfortunate name. Um,
Uh huh.
a lot of people think that they're groundhogs. They're not. They're similar in appearance, but they are not the same. But they do belong to the same rodent family. So there's that. So
Well,
so much.
how do you have all this knowledge of
Google,
marmots?
Google.
Oh, okay.
I cheated.
I mean, looks like you're just thinking,
I, I
top of your
I
head.
wish that was true. But the minute you asked the question, I was like, let's go see if we can find anything on marmots because I was like, you know,
Okay.
yeah, my favorite creatures are bears. I know a lot about bears, but anyway, let's get into the second story. I think you're going to like this one because we all know just how authentic and honest and just wonderful people the Chinese are. Well, in China, a zoo had to admit that their pandas are painted dogs. Yeah, they had
Oh my god.
their visitors actually called them out on it. Isn't that wild?
I
Uh,
can't believe this is real
I
news, really?
Yeah, yeah, I saved this. Okay, so I almost always try to end my 6-minute morning stream on the weekdays, the 6-minute daily. I try to end that with a bear story. I like talking about bears, right? The good and bad about bears.
Uh-huh.
And I saved this story. I was gonna run it today on the stream, but I was like, no, I'm saving that. So this was a savey so I could do it on the show today. But yeah, so anyway, so apparently a Chinese zoo admitted that their pandas in the exhibits were in fact painted dogs. This was according to the New York Post. Visitors at the Shanwei Zoo realized they were being bamboozled when the so-called pandas began panting and barking. Well, yeah, I know. Okay, we're
Oh
killing
my god.
Christy. We're killing Christy. She's dying. Don't die. Don't die.
Oh lord. Oh lord. Oh, that is rich. It's beautiful. I love it so much. Also, I don't know if you got their little pun in there, bamboozled,
Yep, yep,
because
bamboozled. Yeah, yeah, they did so well.
yeah.
Yeah, but being native to China, you would think a zoo there would have pandas. Not so
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
They've they've lent them all out to like American zoos. Oh
Yeah,
man.
well, somebody said this. It's a pan dog, and somebody else joked that's the Temu version of a panda. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Hey, culture.
Yeah.
So I'm like a hopeless lurker, and I do lurk your stream sometimes. And I did
Uh
know about your bear thing.
My bear
And
thing.
I was there, and I wanted to tell you my bear story.
Yeah.
How on your morning show,
Yeah.
can I tell a bear story?
Of course you can. I tell you what, let me pull down this
Yay!
let me pull down this ridiculous panda bear thing that's up here. Let me do that real quick. And
Okay.
I
I don't know.
I
Yeah, so I don't like start cracking up in the middle.
okay, there we go. All right, you're all fair game. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go get them.
Okay, cool. Okay, here's my bear story. So I live in the mountains of Southern California, so we do have bears. And gosh, I think this was like 3 years ago. I walk out on my top deck and I look down and there is a large bear laying near where our gazebo is on the cement, and she looks like she's hurt because she's like laying flat and like I'm getting closer and closer to the edge of my deck because I'm like, what the heck's wrong with that bear? Until she did stand up and then she stomped at me and I went, ah, and I ran back inside. And
Right.
then I go to bed. Then about 30 minutes later, my husband and daughter walk into the room and wake me up. They're like, "You have to see this. You have to see this." And they open my window, and that bear that was in my path was actually a mother bear waiting for her cubs who were eating from our fruit trees,
Right.
and they were all just walking off out of our, and the only reason we knew that they were eating from our peach trees was the next morning there was bear scat with all kinds of peach mess in and everything. So that was a really fun and cute experience
That sounds
with a
fun.
tiny bit
See,
of scary.
that's a good bear story. I like that bear story. I like all bear stories, and
Yeah.
so I mean, it kind of, I like bear stories. Speaking of bear stories, we got a few folks rolling in here. John Coleman celebrates 5 months of membership. He uses that to say, "I'm a bear. Do you like me? Of course I do, John. Thank you. I can be a bear in the morning sometimes if I didn't get enough coffee, so I get that." Um, yeah. Oh, Pet Brett was laughing at you, saying she dead. Yeah, I literally killed you with painted dogs. This is funny as heck. Oh,
I was dying.
hey, Gabby is going to go to listening mode. It's late. All right. Have a very good night, Gabby. We hope you do well.
Oh, good
Yeah,
night, Abby.
yeah. Pet Brett. Everybody knows that bears bark. That's right, Pet Brett. All right. And for those of you who are just joining us in the last few minutes as we grow the audience through the stream, this is Christy from Flip City Magazine. She runs a tight ship with a great operation, publishing a quarterly magazine that will remind you of Mad Magazine back when it was still funny and back when it was anti establishment. Now, if you want anti establishment, this is where you go. Check out flipcitymag.com and check out what they've got over there because oftentimes they're running a special. So take advantage of it and do check out what you can see there. In fact, we're going to show some at the end of the stream, so don't run anywhere when Christy gets a chance to show you what her website looks like. So looking forward to that. Let's
Yeah.
see. We've got conversations aplenty in the chat. So let's move on to the next article. So I think this one has a chance to set you off too. So just be ready.
Okay.
Just be ready. So apparently people were suffering for a place to park, or at least that's what somebody thought. You see, an SUV was spotted parked atop a dumpster in Florida. Florida man got creative. You know, Matt,
How do you
Mike,
do that?
Mike Barron would probably love this story for one of his Florida Man comics. So, and I know you know who Mike Barron is. So, but yeah, so it's an unusual sight. So the mystery of an SUV seen perched atop a Florida dumpster was revealed to have involved a poorly timed parking job, a construction site, and a forklift. So Scott Greenberg said he was on his way to the store when he spotted a vehicle parked on top of a dumpster off East Point Drive in Fort Myers. I had to do a double take. I texted my buddy. I'm like, is that fair game? Is that free? It's in the dumpster. In other words, can I just take the car?
Oh,
Uh, yeah, it's a little dumpster diving. That'd be one to be a little unwieldy to get out of there, but it's a legit place to park, according to Awesome One in the chat. But it turned out that the SUV had been lifted onto the dumpster by a forklift operated by a construction worker helping build a new apartment complex. Workers said the vehicle had been left parked in a work area. And sometimes when you park where you're not supposed to, this is what happens.
Okay. We prank you.
That's right. So, well, at least they didn't do it permanently. The vehicle was later removed from the dumpster and relocated to a parking space away from the work area. Construction workers said they learned the SUV belongs to a contractor who loans it out to out of town workers in need of transportation. So it wasn't done with ill will. But I thought you, if anybody, would appreciate that somebody just thought that was in the way.
Yeah. It just seems like a harmless prank to me.
Yeah.
It sounds like, contractor, they're all working together. They know this guy,
Yeah. So
let's put it on a dumpster.
yeah, and again, I mean, it was not left parked in a location because of ill will. So it is what it is. But no harm done, probably, or little harm done. If the forks are long enough, you won't destroy the car too much. But yeah, I thought that was a fun one too. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you ever seen a car parked in a weird place? You ever see a car
Um,
parked in a
I don't
tree?
know. No, I've never seen that.
Yeah, I saw a car parked halfway in an RV, but I think it got there accidentally. I think somebody accidentally parked the car in the RV. I've seen some weird stuff. I've been driving a lot in my life, so there's that. And yeah, usually after floods, correct, awesome one, you will find cars, especially in Florida, parked in very strange places, like on boat docks and like a lot of stuff. Very weird. Oh, all right. We only have one more weird story, and it we're gonna have you guys will like it. It's a bear story. This is a legit bear story though. I'm about to show off. I again, there's so many bear stories now. I think I get flooded with bear stories because of my love of bears. But
Okay.
and I'm okay with it. Right? I'm not complaining by any stretch of the imagination. So let me just show you this last one. I think it's super fun. Um, tell me what you think happened here.
Are we guessing what's happening in the video?
Yeah, why not?
Kinetic
Well, I mean, yeah. I
Connecticut
mean, yeah,
man has close encounter.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. He was
well,
surprised by a garage invading bear. Because in Connecticut, you and in other places like that, you put your trash cans in your garage, but then you close your garage. You don't normally leave the garage open. And unfortunately,
mhm.
yeah, that's what happened. So a Connecticut man shared a video of his close encounter with a black bear that was lurking in his garage. Andrew Hart of Hart Curb Appeal LLC said he was at a work site in Bloomberg where he encountered an unexpected garage guest. Security camera footage shows Hart walking up the driveway toward the garage when the bear suddenly pokes its head out of the open garage door, causing Hart to flee. Safe to say, I need new pants after that one. So let's take a look at the video real quick. Wild. Here
Uh,
comes the bear. That's pretty wild, right? Oh, and there you are. Look at you. Look at you. And there's Asmongold.
hey, wow,
Yeah.
I'm like famous.
Yeah, you're hanging out next to Asmongold. You're definitely famous. I just think that's funny as heck, right? So,
Wow.
but yeah, so 165 of the 169 cities and towns have had bear sightings this year, or in 2023, I should say. But that's a pretty big population of bears. So, congratulations and well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least he
Well,
lived to
so I
survive.
do
Go ahead.
I do what kind of that typical woman thing, where we watch the really horrible television shows. I don't watch like the true crime really, but I do like those I survived shows, and about every 5 of them it's a bear attack.
Oh boy.
And my husband sits with me, is like, "Oh, it's another bear attack," or other wild animal attack.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I definitely don't want to. don't want to, walk up on a bear. They're dangerous.
They are
They might be
dangerous.
cute, but they're dangerous.
You know
Yeah.
what's not dangerous? Scott Westbrook with 5 Culture Casino cash
Woo!
giving us a super sticker. It's a little Shiba Inu dog clapping his paws together. So well done. Well done. Thank you. I love the Shiba Inu dogs. You guys all know that. If I were to if I were to replace Bear Dog now that he's been gone for a while, so maybe it's time for me to get a new dog. But I think it might be a Shiba Inu because they are super fun. I like their temperament, and they're very protective of their family. So they do take training though, and they like to walk. Holy cow! So there's that. Uh,
And they're darn cute.
yeah, they're very very cute. So thank you, Scott. I truly appreciate that. Um, Sander Hammerschlag. I can no longer bear this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I heard knocking at night at my front door, and it was a black bear trying to get into my iron box with my bird food in it. Well, of
Wow.
course. Yeah, well the bird seed is like an easy meal for them. I was telling everybody this morning on the 6 Minute Daily that this time of year bears need to consume at least 20,000 calories a day to build up for being hibernated here relatively soon. So this is their power eating marathon time. So yeah, this is crazy. So super fun. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. Let's see. For those of you who just joined recently, I'm going to tell you this is Christy from Flip City Magazine. You can see Flip City Magazine at flipcitymag.com. They do probably some of the best parodied satire, college humor. I mean, just absolutely irreverence and anti establishment that you've seen since Mad Magazine decided they were not interested in doing that anymore. So they publish quarterly. If you like physical things, you get physical media. If you like digital things, you can get it digitally. And you can go back and look at the treasure troves that they have in the past, which I think is quite valuable. So do check out Flip City Mag. Thank you. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, let's get into some real news now. Are you ready for real news?
Okay. Is it really real?
Really, really. We've got
Okay.
we've got some real news out there. I'm gonna have to try to grab the winder to the winder to the winder to the wall to the wall. Um, yeah, I don't know what's going on. No thanks. All right. We're gonna talk a little bit about something that I used to treasure. Oh wait, we need to get to I didn't run the thing yet. I got to run their thing. Let me run the
Okay.
thing here. All right. So the real news. Real news. Today's topics. And there we are. Yeah, somebody
All
said
right.
the unbearable lightness of being bear. Well, it could be the incredible weight of being or what was it, enormous talent or whatever it was that was one of the greatest actors ever alive. Nicolas Cage was in. Yeah, incredible weight of massive talent or whatever. It was very funny. All right, let's get to it. We got to get to a story. I need to make a story happen. So this one I like.
Yep.
It comes from John De La Rose, I think, over at Fandom Pulse. It's in their Substack. I don't know what they're doing or whether or not they're actually still doing their website or maintaining it at a regular rate. But this one came out of their Substack, and I was impressed. And it talks about something, as I mentioned before, that I just absolutely was in love with when I was younger and used to play regularly. I'm talking about D&D. See, Gen Con fired its entire staff of woke sci-fi and fantasy writers from its writers symposium. So when these people get together, which I think happens soon, I think it's in October. Maybe I'm off on my dates, but those people won't be there anymore. And usually they're people that you didn't know, right? So they might be
Hmm.
making moves to get away from woke activism, possibly from complaints of science fiction and fantasy fans who want the Writers' Symposium to be about writing. That would make sense, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Common sense.
Yeah. So
Common
special,
sense returning.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and this was the symposium from 2024, which is special guest Mickey Kendall, who's the author of Hood Feminism. Now, does that sound particularly um, fantasy oriented?
Like, or anybody that's into D&D would appreciate that speaker? Is that what she
Why? I
was?
no, no. Yeah. I mean, that's a guest there, right? Definitely one of the speakers. But I just the
Uh-huh.
title of the book is what escapes me here. Um, Hood Feminism. It's very strange. Um,
Yeah.
and let's see. So Gen Con recently has been known for its woke activism over the last decade, miring the convention in identity politics when it used to be known as the greatest table gaming convention in existence, which I concur. It really was. Nothing has been worse in this regard than the Gen Con Writers Symposium. This writing track was supposed to highlight great writers in the sci fi, fiction, and fantasy community, but instead devolved into SFWA's political arm. After several years of failure, Gen Con fired every member from the symposium to get a clean slate for the following year. So the Gen Con Writers Symposium is a veritable who's who of SFWA clout chasers, mostly comprised of failed authors who use identity politics to get small publishing deals that very rarely sell. Wow. Here, one would see the likes of Cat
Okay.
Rambo, right? Cat Rambo, former SFWA president, and Monica Valentinelli. I don't know how to say her name. A woman who publicly attacked Odyssey Con and bowed out because she didn't want to be associated with a known bad behavior harassment person, which she accused a man
Mhm.
of with no evidence. Patrick S. Tomlinson was a failed author and a wildly inconsistent tweeter. I'm having to change this in real time, guys. Who
Uh-huh.
infamously sued an online forum because they made fun of him. Is also a guest year after year. So looking at the lineup, you had people that were, obviously forcing identitarianism and other activism into place and clout within the SFWA are the only qualifiers for being featured guests and getting speaking slots at the convention. This year, Gen Con decided to take action as the Writers' Symposium devolved into worse divisive politics than ever. Perhaps a move to get the symposium on a better track for the future. Now, the reason I wanted to do this article, and there's more to it, of course, but it's because you're a writer. You make material, you produce content, media. You this is your job. um, is this heartening, or is it consequential, or what do you think about them removing all of these people that aren't offering much?
Yeah. Uh, it's good news, and the pendulum is swinging, hopefully to land back into the side of sanity. I mean, I can't believe any of this even ever happened.
Yeah.
So for fans, good for you. You're gonna get your stuff back. I mean, I can't I can't imagine anybody was even going and watching these people speak. Is
Yeah, I
How did
like
they
I
do it, Culture?
well, I don't actually know. I wish I did. I think this has been happening for quite some time. Um, I mean, like a decade or so. One of the other people that I look up to that does a great job with their channel covered this article as well. I just thought when I saw it and had the opportunity to grab it, I'd want to run it by you. Um, Look, I mean, if you have the great privilege to write for a living, and writing is not easy, but if you have that privilege, I mean, you should not, wreck it with something like this, right? You should you should do a good job and try not to let any, political slant chase away your customers. And when it comes to holding a convention like this where people show up and talk about things that they love, um, usually they're not talking about limited identitarianism or such myopic things. They're talking about the more myopic things of their fandom and the things that they're interested in within that, and they want to talk about the rules and how things evolved. And They want to talk about, some of their favorite fantasy books that are based on some of their favorite, tabletop franchises, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a lot of different stuff that can contribute to these conventions. That's why I think I don't know. Uh, I think it needed a change. I'll give you the last word on it if you want there, Christy. What do you think?
Um, yay.
Okay. Uh, That's a very simple response, but I guess a very effective
Yeah.
one. Let's see what the chat says if anybody's interested in what that story was,
Yeah.
because yeah, I am. I just hope that it's a change for the better. And if you want to go check that out, it's over on Fandom Pulse's Substack. So there's that.
I
Uh,
like I like what Pet Brett says there. I think I have a few classic hood feminism calendars in storage.
I don't actually know what that is. There's my favorite polar bear.
The hood feminism?
No, oh no, there's right here. Snortopus cubier is my favorite polar bear. So,
Oh,
well, that picture says it all. That's true. Um, Carlos Alfredo Lopez. Wow, the chat keeps jumping on me. Hey, Davina, good to see you. Let them get their own convention. Yes. Yeah. The problem is they invade
yeah.
our spaces and bring their naughty, nasty stuff with them. And yeah, we just want to talk about this. We don't want to talk about how you believe you've been treated unfairly in a community that you showed up to 3 seconds ago. Anyway, regardless, we need to move on to a new story. We got a few of them here, and I don't want to run too far over because Ascendant Art Podcast is coming up next. So let's jump into the next story and
All
get it
right.
out there for everybody. This one's fun. So I wanted to do a fun story, and this is coming from Bounding into Comics, and JB Augustine wrote it. Apparently, Constantine 2 producer Lorenzo di Bonaventura says that the script for the film is done, but he's too scared to read it. Did you watch the Constantine film, the first one?
N- Nope.
Okay,
I
fair
don't
enough.
know this at all.
All right. Well,
You're
Constantine
gonna have to
basically
just drag me along.
it's perfectly fine. Constantine is basically sending the evil demons and things back to where they belong, which is sending them back to hell. And Constantine gave was in this scene is giving Balthazar his last rites. Um, but Constantine finally has an update favorable to the quiet development of the project, which they've actually been working on for over a decade now. And Keanu's on board. So the producer Lorenzo di Bonaventura shared the good news that the script is finished. It was sent to him, but he hadn't read it. He's too intimidated at the moment. So it's in my inbox now. Funny enough, I'm too scared to read it though. I just want it to be good so bad. I will probably read it in the next few days. So by this time, I would expect, since it's the 20th, he's probably taken a look at this. And this was all according to comicbook.com. So I guess he was going to read it on a plane. So D. Bonaventura's remarks are being interpreted as cautiously optimistic. There's so much buzz about the return of Keanu Reeves to this dark wizarding world, but nobody, not even the producer, knows if it'll live up to expectations, which it does have some pretty high expectations. It does have some pretty amazing acting performances as well. Yeah, and there's no telling if the sequel will get priority for DC Studios either, because co-president James Gunn left the door open for Elseworlds films, but after a hard reset happening next year with Superman, everything will be one continuity. So the question would be, will this film Constantine be within that same continuity? Don't know. And of course, that will keep things cleaner and more organized, which might be the point. Sure, Joker, Folie à Deux, and The Penguin will be released soon. Well, The Penguin started. You can go watch Penguin now, actually. I started watching it today. It looks very good. And The Batman Part 2 is waiting in the wings, but after that, Gunn may crack down, and he may need to. I don't think Elseworlds. Um, I don't think Elseworlds stories really should be around. I think you need to have one continuity. But he might streamline his priorities further and leave less room for alternate takes by other directors, such as Todd Phillips, who said he's not making a third film anyway, and there's a reason for that. Which, if you watch the video on the massive potential flop and most likely flop of Joker 2. You'll understand why I say that. Um, but basically, not wanting more variant characters. So, Gunn has his own plans. We've already seen them sweep aside the Snyderverse, Henry Cavill, Black Adam's Shazam, and Reeves' Arkham TV series. So, I just hope this gets made. It deserves to be. And man, Colin Farrell's so good at Penguin. Did you see the Batman film with did you see Matt Reeves' Batman? You didn't.
No,
Oh, okay. That's
I
fine.
didn't.
That's fine.
However
You s-
however, our lead parody is going to be, a musical, a Joker musical, and it's hilarious. It's written and drawn and being colored right now, so
Oh, wow, cool. See, and this is the other thing. This
yeah.
everything they do is well planned out. They do a great job. So it's easy to heap praise on somebody when what they're doing is amazing. So, but I like you said, I mean, I want to see this. I didn't know if you'd seen the first one. You clearly didn't. You might want to catch up because this is really good. Demon fighting fun. So, Imperatus, great to
Cool,
see you,
so
my friend.
highly recommended.
Yeah, might as well. Might as well see it. I think you would enjoy it. I think you and your husband would enjoy it indeed. All right.
Alright.
We're cooking right along. We want to get you over to Ascendant Art as quickly as possible, and then after that, Loki. Late night with Loki. Um, and
Ooh.
I need to start writing the monologue for Sunday's late night show, so I better get on it. Uh, I also have to edit a bunch of videos, so it's not like I'm sleeping anytime soon. Real quickly, though, we've got a news story coming at us from that Park Place. This is, I'm going to hit another thing I don't know that you know about, but we're going to hit this. This is a gaming story, but it's in the same line as Fandom Pulse story that we did about getting rid of the people that may not be the healthiest for our company's bottom line. We've got we got a former Sweet Baby Inc. employee implying that developers did not want to hire him after working for Kim Belair's company. That's right. Kim Belair is the person that founded Sweet Baby Inc. And it seems to be like the kiss of death for your career. Um, I'm assuming you've heard about Sweet Baby Inc. Am I wrong?
Yes, I've heard that, basically while that was happening, yeah.
All right. Well, it's happening to the extreme where not only is she killing the video game industry and her and her pals in the consultancy industry, but literally destroying people that work for them. So
Uh-huh.
a former employee, Kazuma Hashimoto, revealed that developers did not want to hire him because he worked for the video game consultancy. Hashimoto was recently featured in an article written by Zachary Small at the New York Times, where he claimed that Japanese people were not upset about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Boy, was he wrong. Um, and claimed that much of the pushback against the game and one of its main characters, Yasuke, depending upon how you say it, was being done by Westerners using translators. Uh, didn't you watch any of the on camera folks from Japan and all the Japanese language things that showed up when we were covering these stories extensively and pointing out exactly how bad this game was? I don't think so. So he told the New York Times it was people in the West who were upset at seeing Yasuke as a samurai. Small added that Hashimoto explained that many of the negative online comments written in Japanese appeared to have been roughly translated from English, or they were roughly translated from Japanese so people could know what they were saying, because that goes both ways. So uh, I have to ask you, Christy, are you this deep into the
Mm.
story? Do you understand what's going on with this not really samurai? No? All right,
No, I'm not that deep into it.
this this fella in Japan who was pursuing his scholarly works, a white guy, I think his last name was Lockley, wrote a fictionalized version of history, although he claimed it was authentic, that there was a man who was named Yasuke, who was brought into Japan with some Jesuits Japan at the time wasn't particularly accepting of outsiders. This is an extreme outsider because he was incredibly tall and black, which was a novelty in Japan. Oftentimes, if you were a stranger that did not look like you belonged, you were unalived. So, um,
Okay.
during this period of time. But anyway, some Jesuits, some missionaries brought Yasuke into Japan. He was paraded in front of uh, Obunaga, the person that was in charge of this region at the time, and he found him to be a novelty and eventually employed him as what would nicely be called a retainer and a sword bearer. Those would probably be for Obunaga, who's an actual samurai. Oda Obunaga. Oda Nobunaga. I always say his name wrong. Thank you for the correction, Carlos Alfredo Lopez. But yeah, and yeah, so a recent Twitch stream discovered by YouTuber Smash JT, Yashimoto provided more details about the New York Times, saying a couple of months ago, the New York Times actually got in touch with me to ask me about Assassin's Creed, in which I was like, "Yeah, reception's honestly kind of positive, and not a lot of comments you'd see under videos were like straight up like Google translated comments, which is pretty obvious." Uh oh. However, he noted how annoyed the Japanese people are with certain aspects of the game, and like people are like annoyed with some of the inconsistencies and issues with shadows, which is like the buildings and stuff being wrong, or certain clothing and whatnot, right? Or the fact that the art team basically stole a sign from a reenactment troupe in Japan. And that's actually like pretty common because when you are working with such a large team of artists, well, sometimes they're sort of given the direction to Google things and people make mistakes. It's more like you're working with a team of people that speak multiple different languages, and whether or not they can communicate with each other is an issue. And that's just become part of the game development. Well, no kidding. Later in the stream, though, this fella
Okay.
Yashimoto claimed he did not work on Assassin's Creed Shadows. So how would he know? How would he know? And he said, I can say that I didn't do any consultation work on Assassin's Creed Shadows. The stuff I did with Sweet Baby, I'll probably will never be able to talk about just because of the way game development works. So yeah, it's really weird. I have a feeling that I'm going to get blamed for changes and decisions made on a game that I worked on that weren't even like that I didn't even know about or wasn't even aware of or not even part of. Because when you're a consultant, they just kind of pull you in and they ask you for like suggestions. There's a lot of likes, and whether or not those
Yeah.
suggestions are actually taken is up to the director. It's up to the director. People don't understand how much power director and producer have in a studio and whether or not they will facilitate those changes. Well, it seems like they listened to somebody. And later in this stream, Hashimoto revealed that the developers did not want to hire him given he was former Sweet Baby Inc. employee. This is the crux of it, and then we'll wrap it up. But there are
Yeah.
definitely jobs that I had where like people have seen like the fact that I worked for Sweet Baby, and it's been a year since I worked with them, and it's just like a contractual basis when I was so just like periodically for like a couple of years. Um, I'm not sure what you said because the number of likes were like weighing it down,
Yeah.
but
Well, I'm getting irritated with the editor of this article because they could edit out the likes. I'm thinking they had
I
an AI transcription
ah
and just fed it
Y
in.
yeah, well, no, I mean, I don't mind it so much because I think first of all, it's authentic, so they're not changing the quote somebody's saying, so I appreciate that, but, I mean, yeah, I mean, you could certainly clean up the dialogue, but anyway, now I'm gonna start saying "like" all the time. That's gonna
Okay.
be bad. So anyway, here we go again. People will literally be like, "Hey, are we going to get harassed for hiring you?" And I think that really sucks. That instead of like, we'll protect our employee and the employer and the potential person giving you the contract will be more concerned about that than in protecting their employees. That's kind of fudged up. No, it's because they know that when a consultancy group like that is involved, you get nuked. Look at all the games that have been involved with this changing of things, the forced social media, or excuse me, forced social change that they're trying to put in place through gaslighting and other things. People can see it now. They don't want it, and they can identify where it came from. I know you have an opinion on that, Christy.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing that I'm trying to figure out here, that the guy is talking about. So he's talking he can't get a job because Sweet Baby Inc. is on his resume. So it's
Yeah,
almost like things are flipping, right?
yeah.
Uh yeah, it's like I am a major like sayer. So
Well, you live
'cause
in
it is
California,
kind
right?
of
Yeah, yeah,
uh-huh.
so,
We
yeah.
yeah. We
Are
can't
you?
help ourselves out
Were
here.
were you from the valley?
I
Were,
was not. I grew up in the Inland Empire,
oh, okay, all right, fair enough, fair
but
enough.
we all kind of spoke that way. You know what I'm talking
I
about.
do
But
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I actually kind of feel bad for the guy. I don't know who this is. So I don't know how much, power or sway he had in this consultancy and all that kind of stuff, but it does kind of make me giggle. It's kind of like cancel culture is blowing back on the once were cancelers, so it's kind of entertaining.
It's just it's different and probably something that they never expected. They never expected to be called out for the bologna sausage that they bring to the table, and I think that's what what's coming about. But let's take a look at what the chat thinks. They've got great comments here, I believe. Pet Brett, like I said, highlighted. I see on your resume under previous experience you have written down jail. Do you care to elaborate? Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Rooftop Korean. Dude needs a public speaking class. Well, let me just tell you, he definitely didn't go to uh, uh, Toastmasters. He would have been tossed out on his ear. Let's see what else. Oh, what's Loki's channel? Says John Coman. Loki's Mornings of Mischief, my friend. And I don't think I have a mod in house. Yeah, don't think I do.
No mods tonight.
That's all right. We have a
Hmm.
wonderful. We have one of the best chats on YouTube. The fellowship is strong for us all. Um, yeah. So, yeah. Loki has a channel. He's great on that gameplay. It's brilliant. A guy owns every game. When I say that, as I'm not making it up. I'm not involved in hyperbole. He almost owns everything. Let's get to it. So it's Loki's Mornings of Mischief, which I always misspell. So there you go. You betcha. You betcha, John. Yeah, Kit Kat holding the Kit Kat. One of my favorite pictures. Says I grew up in the valley. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that I have friends from the valley, and like is their like every like word like.
Yep. I always thought it was just kids that were, growing up in the 80s and 90s in Southern California. That's just what you say, but it's been passed down because
Yeah.
my 22-year-old daughter, there's been times in her growing up where we've tried to not say like
Good
consciously,
luck.
and
Good
it's
luck.
difficult. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I had to clean up my manner of speech. Um, I go out of my way not to do what I just did and say because like is utilized as a space filler. It's the word that lets you think about what your next piece of dialogue would be. Y-
Indeed.
it's more important to just take a pause and then say the word, which is oftentimes why people think that my particular cadence is strange because I'm trying to use the very precise word that that conveys the thought. Then I just used another filler phrase, which was.
is one.
Yeah.
I think I use a lot as well.
Yeah.
Something that I have found endlessly fascinating. So I've been the one that's been transcribing any interviews that we do in print, and it is endlessly fascinating to recognize people's speech patterns.
Yeah.
While because it's really transcription is very, very difficult. Thank goodness for AI now. That's helping me a lot. But um eh, when you're transcribing, you realize like how um everybody speaks differently from
Hmm.
one another.
Hmm.
And um there was one guy that we did maybe a couple years ago that he would tell a story for about 2 minutes and then interrupt his story to go back to add context to a story and talk another 2 minutes and then pick back up exactly where he left off. And it was amazing. I'm like, how does somebody's brain work like that? So you're talking for 5 minutes, but all over the place timeline wise. I'm like, that's impressive. I couldn't do that.
I jot notes when I'm doing a podcast. People probably see it. I still use pen and paper when I'm doing a stream because I have too much electronic happening in front of me to even keep it all sorted. For a long while before I was a full time YouTuber, I would be a mod in four chats at the same time. I can no longer do that. So, but when I'm having conversations, I'll take a note. If there's something I want to fill in, I'll write a note real quickly, and it'll make it so that I can go back to that point in time and try to pick up where I left off. And then there's times when I'm in a live stream where the conversation's back and forth and I have a point to make and it'll just be gone. It's just the nature of what we do, podcasting, live streams. They're the same thing. One of the ways you can make your transcripts go faster is to take your video and drop it in something like Slack because it has an automatic transcription that it'll do via AI and try to grab all the words correctly.
Hmm.
And that'll make it a little bit easier
Yes.
for you. You give you a whole transcript. So it saves you time.
You Yeah, and I did get a transcribing app, gosh, maybe 6 months ago, and that was helpful, but I just realized with the AI being free all over the internet, I have found some really great free transcribing apps that drop out the filler words and actually correct what the person is saying. I tested one, about a month ago and listened to the entire interview while reading it, and I know this AI is tight. Yes.
I really enjoy them.
Man, square pigs.
Yeah. Yeah. There's only a handful of people probably remember that, but yeah. Stitch is out there says, sorry that I'm late, culture, but glad that I'm here. Hail Flip City, hail indeed. Hail indeed.
Hail
Speaking of hail,
Stitch.
speaking of hail, Stitch, yeah, Stitch is right, yeah. Right, yeah. Yeah. Pet Brett's out
Nice.
there adding
I
contests. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, I love that your chat feels the need to apologize to you.
Oh, I have this amazing group of humanity, my fellowship, my supporters that just I'm so blessed because the chat will talk amongst themselves and they all have great relationships. It's super. I'm blessed. But speaking of blessed, you know who wasn't blessed?
Who?
Sony. Why?
Oh.
Well, they
Mm.
bought a game studio called Firewalk. Firewalk Studio was put together in 2018 to do one thing, to build one great game, to build a looter shooter to already compete in a very full market and make something called Concord. You may have heard of this, you may not have. But Concord, their game director, Ryan Ellis, steps down after game's abysmal failure. Okay. I think this is all but confirmed now, and I believe this happened exactly 2 weeks ago. But the game director stepped down from his position after the game's abysmal failure that saw its servers shut down about 2 weeks after it launched. No, it was exactly within 2 weeks of its launch. I would say this is the shortest runtime I've ever seen in a game. This game was terrible looking. Nobody can argue that. It was ill-conceived. Nobody could argue that. And they literally wasted a year and a half of development time and then rushed a year and a half of development time on this game. And they outsourced most of the second set of that year and a half. Technically, this game was in the process of being made for 8 years. And Sony bought that studio for ridiculous amounts of money. This studio produced a game that will forever be known as the biggest failure for Sony Interactive Entertainment. Why? Well, here's the second part of the story, and this is where it gets more interesting. In a video that we'll be covering this story on that game place will be released in the next day or so. But I want to present to you a different version of that with Christie's thoughts. This whole reason why I'm going into this long diatribe. You see, rumor, Concord reportedly cost $400 million to develop. A simple looter shooter, oops, I scrolled really fast. A simple looter shooter game cost $400 million to make, not counting marketing, which could easily be that much money. So this is I don't even know a tragedy. I mean, Sony literally invested everything into this and then shelved this game. Now, are you familiar with the story, or did I fill you in enough for you to react to this crazy?
Yeah, I don't know the story, but yeah, anytime I see, numbers like that in mainstream entertainment, it just blows me away that they could just shovel good money after bad and then do nothing with the thing. I don't know. It just blows my mind. I'm like, what I could do $400 million.
Yeah, and this is what the character art looked like. The characters were poorly designed. Yeah, and this information comes directly from Colin Moriarty, who honestly is telling you what he honestly knows for a fact from somebody. They gave him this story. So he doesn't do news anymore, but when he's given stories, he covers them. This he covered. They referred to this game, Christy, as the future of PlayStation with Star Wars like potential. Oh shoot. Did it change? It did. Oh, at least it didn't show my DMs. So yeah, this is it. This is the podcast. He's talking right now. Everything that he says in this podcast won't be that hard to
Uh-huh.
confirm. So the Star Wars like potential is one thing, and a dev culture of toxic positivity halted any negative feedback. This is how you end up losing $400 million. You don't take any criticism. You don't listen to your feedback. You always say this is great. And you think the world of something that most people are going to say you're going into an oversaturated market and you're charging $40 for the privilege to play. It better be one outstanding game. Let's say it's not. It's not. Anyway, Christy, any thoughts there? I know I kind of went off for a second. I apologize.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that you went off because um this is these kinds of things, I don't really pay too much attention to unless I'm lurking a stream and you guys happen to be talking about it.
Right.
Because I'm not a gamer. I'm not a gamer, you guys.
Uh,
I suck. I'm so boring.
that's okay.
I
You're
don't
fine.
game or
I appreciate you being here. I also appreciate the stellar chat that we have here because they're absolutely the best.
dude.
Um, yeah, Firewalk or Firewoke. No, it's Firewalk Studios, WALK. Firewalk. They were purchased from a company called Probably Monsters. They were the original owner and started that studio so that they could do this game. The original investors spent $200 million on the game, and then Sony dumped another $200 million into the game on top of what they bought Firewalk for, which supposedly is close to, well, it's several hundred million. Let's just say I was going to say the B word, and it might have cost them a B word, but I ain't going to say a B word. Uh,
Yeah, and Weatherman, just I'm looking at the chat, and Weatherman, I think, makes a good point, and that's the kind of question I have in these, big studios and everything. Like, how much money is just burnt talking about stuff without any kind of actual development or
well,
creation,
uh,
and
uh,
like how much is burnt in the administrative or executive end?
oh, I assure you, way too much. There are too many staff. I think originally when they acquired Firewalk, there were only like 150 employees. I don't know how many there are now. Probably a lot less though, because you have a game like this and
Okay.
it tanks. You probably get rid of them. Uh, but I mean, Sony has already been laying people off left and right, and then to introduce this disaster, which, by the way, the people that were looking at this game told them it would be a disaster, and they didn't listen. They didn't listen. They chalked it up to sexism, and by they called people bigots. Attack the fans. Attack the people
Mm,
trying to help you. Why? Anyway, that's why I love what
yeah.
you're. That's
I
why I
mean,
love what you
that
guys are doing. By the way, is because you poke the bear, the quote unquote elitist establishment, which they need a poking because they are doing things wrong. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, and in fact, no, I feel like we are watching things change in real time. I'm sure you see it. I mean, it's kind of, what we're seeing in the articles we're reading tonight, but uh do you agree with that? Do you think
No,
that,
no.
that
It's the whole.
there's been enough fan pushback?
Well, there's been enough damage done. I mean, you consistently waste
Yeah.
hundreds of millions of dollars in any form of entertainment. The pushback is real. You spend more money on video games than you do on any blockbuster film, except for I don't know if you're maybe the Marvels or Indiana Jones and the dire of the diaper of diarrhea. But that's about it. I mean, but there are games that are going to be $1 billion here. We're going to see $1 billion game releases, and no, the game won't cost $1 billion, but with game plus marketing, $1 billion. I think GTA 6 will be $1 billion game between the game itself and the development and how long it took, and the fact that right now, if what I've heard is correct, they've been working very hard in the background to change some of the elements in the game because the fan community reacted so negatively. Oh, and if you get to the end of that
Oh.
game and all of a sudden there's a giant identitarian reveal, people are going to lose their stuff. That's going to be an issue.
I,
Um,
I mean,
but
isn't that what GTA is all about, is being like super politically incorrect and offensive?
they used
Have
to
they been
be.
changing it?
Yo, yeah, GTA 6 is supposed to be for a modern audience, Christy. Come on now. That modern audience that
Oh,
just brings all their money in bags with them. They back up a Brinks truck.
right. I don't know. I find it endlessly entertaining to watch them all fail, you
Yeah.
know.
But I don't want to see you fail. So we're coming up on the magical 90-minute window, which means I'm going to give you your time, but I'm going to read a couple super chats first, okay? Um,
Let's do it.
and look, I know actual gamers, I know actual gamers, and nobody I know wants games like this stuff. They just don't. Stitch gives me $10 though, 10 Culture Casino cash to say F the tube for denying me the ability to gift memberships. It's been broken for a lot of people. I know they're working
Oh.
on it, Stitch. I know. We need fellow Culture Casino fans to get more memberships. I agree. My membership roster rose to over 1,000, and they're keeping me down because they're going to make it so I'm not at 1,000 next month. So I need you to help somehow. Anyway, I appreciate y'all. You guys are great. Thank you, Stitch. You're the best. Justin Channels is out there. Great to see you, Justin. Failure of epic proportions. Yep. Dragon Bricks points out the obvious: 400 million to spread the message. Yeah, not a message anybody wants to receive. And Pete O'Shea brought his helicopter with him. Pinochet's helicopter tour is one of my favorite people on the planet. For 2 Culture Casino cash. Give me the cash. 400 million or an excuse for DEI money laundering. Well, I think they probably spent the 400 million. And I'm sure there was a considerable amount of that. So we know money is finding its way into people's pockets. We know it. You know it. There are a lot of LLCs you do business in when you do business in gaming or in television or film. There's a lot of LLCs you're doing business with. Who's to say one of them is those LLCs isn't a loan out that's providing you with security services that has never ever been there one day ever, or something similar. Clerical. Okay, that's as generic as it gets. We hired this firm to do clerical. Okay, what did they do? Clerical work. Sure. What did they do? Yeah, see, you know, you're never going to get
Yeah.
an answer. Hollywood accounting. All right, we got another wonderful one. Look at y'all. Look at y'all. John Coleman again for 5 Culture Casino cash. Give me the cash. Says, so how about Diddy's 784 silicone toys? Oh, I heard that. Oh, I wish we'd have covered that. But we
I
don't have
hadn't
time.
heard that one.
Yeah, no, it's true though. They were pointy. They were pointy. Anyway, they were found in
That
his
John
house.
did the math.
It's a football field. Oh, I didn't think about it that way. That's wild. Cyrano comes through with another Culture Casino membership. That's 6. And Carlos Estrada
Nice.
got it. So y'all are amazing. Y'all are amazing. That's right. Centennial Maine. Why did I read it that way? Samuel Maine says, I have contacted YouTube about your gift memberships. Wait, you don't want me to have them? No, I know. Nah, it's been happening on all the channels I've seen recently. And thank you for the member chat. And I can't believe you've been here 6 months. Thank you so much as a member. That's good stuff.
Wow.
All right. Give me the cash. Don't you have to load that thing first? Yes. Everybody, that's somebody who knows the film that's coming from. Yep, that's coming from Fifth Element. That's where that quote was. Give me the cash. You guys are the best. On that note, we got to give this young lady her due. She is working hard for you. You just don't know it yet. So let's get you, Christy, to plug yourself.
I'm plugging myself. All right. And culture. All right, cool. So, so yeah, if you go to flipcitymag.com, that's where you're going to find all of our information, including our social media. And one of the cool things that I like to point out is that we have a free magazine posted on our website, directly on our website. You don't have to give us any information. And you can flip through a small sample magazine. If you really like it, you can give us your email to get a full length super sampler. And culture, I don't know if it's me or what, but I'm just not seeing the. All right, cool. Yeah, not a problem. Anyway, yeah, Flip City Magazine. Basically, if there's things in pop culture, entertainment, politics that annoy you, we have probably poked fun at it multiple times. So we're made for people that um, like comedy, physical media, comic, and are kind of attuned to the shitty that we're. And I'm sorry that I cursed. That was, but attuned to, attuned to how our culture is kind of going down the tubes. So this is our homepage of our magazine. You'll see the buttons right at the top. You have a choice to go buy and subscribe right now on the left, and then read for free on the right. And culture, if you can just click that read for free button. so everybody can see the really cool digital magazine that we have on our website. It takes a moment to load, but we've got a flip book directly on our website with our simple sampler, with lots of calls to action saying to download the super sampler, which is a 72-page PDF emailed immediately, and an idea of the format of our magazine, because we'll start with a lead parody, which I had said earlier in our show, in this show, that our next lead parody is going to be a 12-page musical satire parody of the Joker, and we recently got the artwork back for the Lady Gaga character, and she's horrendous. You're not going to want to miss out on that one. So that will be in our 23rd volume. Something, and Culture, if you even just wanted to go back to the homepage and just scroll down, we've been growing over the last 5 years. We've been selling directly to consumers on our website, but we have an exciting development that just happened a couple months ago. We won distribution through Diamond. So books starting February of 2025. We're thinking that's when our first magazines will arrive in the brick and mortars. So if you're interested to hang out at comic books or your comic, ask them to carry Flip City Magazine in their stores. Um, yeah, it's exciting news for us. Yeah, we don't really would be great. We had our customer service rep over there had us manage our expectations of what we're going to do right at the beginning, because we're a relatively unknown title. But he doesn't know that we've been selling online for 5 years and have been doing kind of media tours like this, hanging out on the coolest podcast with the coolest chats, letting people know that Flip City Magazine exists. So it'll be interesting to get in the catalog and see how many orders we get in our first round. So we'll be featured. We'll be featured in the Diamond catalog in November, with the magazines being ordered and into shops in about February of 2025. And I think on this, I think the Babylon Bee, there it is. You can see what Babylon Bee said about Flip City in the lower right hand corner. Oh, you pulled away. Anyway, that's a badge of honor. Babylon Bee has called Flip City Magazine too edgy and vulgar for our audience. Um, I guess I guess that's what we are. We're made for people that want to laugh, and we are uncensored. So if you're easily offended, maybe skip us. But if you're not, go check us out at flipcitymag.com. And I just say, go check out, if you haven't checked out Flip City Magazine yet, it's super easy. Go to flipcitymag.com, click through that. And if you really like it, so I can tell you when we have all of our best deals going on, which always we have a really great Black Friday sale that we do the entire week of Thanksgiving and weekend after, where you can get the very best deals. And that's just around the corner. So yeah, give us your email. I'll give you great deals. All right. I think I'm done pitching. I love Flip City, though. It's my paper baby.
I think you're doing great, and thank you for promoting that. I appreciate it. And once I got the thing working, we were in good shape. So for those of you out there that haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's free. Go check it out. I love it. I love it. I'm even doing a commercial for them for it. Chrissy's been a great guest, and I appreciate you being here. Coming up next, and probably already started, is the amazing Ascendant Art Podcast, which I can't spell, and you can go check it out. Sometimes I hang out over there, but after that, you can go check out the Late Night Loki show, which was fantastic. Sometimes even Mexican Iron Man shows up, but you get a cast of characters that you know and love, and do check that out. But I just want to say a wonderful, hearty thank you to you, Christy, for sharing this time with us to do this, and I do appreciate that. Samuel Main for 5 Culture Casino cash. Thank you, my friend. Once again, says, here we go. I am not able to purchase gift memberships yet and contacted YouTube on X about the issue.
Alright.
Thank you so very much, Samuel Maine. You're the best. Does it have centerfolds? Not in the, certain uh, aspects like the adult magazines, but I
Yeah.
think you have the back of your
No, I
magazine
have to
is.
show you this one.
Oh, okay. Well, then I lied. Look at that. Amazing.
You lied. We don't do centerfolds in every one, but this is very much a Flip City style motivational poster, and if you see behind me, you can see the bottom part of the original painting. It was a gift to me from my husband for our anniversary, and that is kind of our sense of humor.
Amazing. Very
Didn't
much
get it
amazing.
that I love this so much. May I tell you a story of complete or failure? From
That's so incredible. Well, on that note, Christy, we've got to shed ourselves from this dusky coil. Folks, do check out the Senator podcast, Loki coming up later, and so much more. Thank you for spending your valuable time here today. I always end the show by saying, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya.